Tasmin, that Bhagavati, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Duravakraya, difficult to attain, Dhamani, whose nature, Ashatam, looked on, Sarvalokanam, while all the people, Layam became absorbed, Anjasa, easily. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, HG Madhavasraya Swami Prabhupada. Joy. How was it possible for Shishupal and Dandavakra in the presence of many exalted persons to enter very easily into the body of Krishna, whose nature is difficult to attain? Shishupal and Dandavakra were formerly Jaya and Vijaya, the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. Merging into the body of Krishna was not their final destination. For some time they remained merged, and later they received the liberation of Sarupya and Salokya, living on the same planet as the Lord in the same bodily form. The Shastras give evidence that if one blasphemes the Supreme Lord, his punishment is to remain in hellish life for many millions of years, more than one suffers by killing many Brahmanas. Shishupal, however, instead of entering hellish life, immediately and very easily received Sayukya Mukti. That such privilege had been offered to Shishupal was not merely a story. Everyone saw it happen. There was no scarcity of evidence. How did it happen? Maharaj Yudhishthira was very much surprised. Katham tasmin bhagavati durvakrahya dhamani Ashyatam sarvalokanam layam iyatur anjasa. How was it possible for Shishupal and Dandavakra in the presence of many exalted persons to enter very easily into the body of Krishna, whose nature is difficult to attain? Vanchakalpatrupyascha kripasindhuvyevacha patitam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this seventh chapter is a very interesting chapter, and it's very instructive also. At this present time, Yudhishthira Maharaj is very bewildered by what is going on, because he cannot understand that such a demon as Shishupal and Dandavakra, they can actually achieve liberation after they have been chastising the Lord for so many, it was 100 times. But this is mainly because, first of all, we understand this with our very, very limited senses and intelligence. We always think that we are the body, we have a beginning and we have an end, which is not the case, and it's never the case for the Lord. So for him, there is no difference actually. If it is blasphemed or if it's glorified, for him it's all the same. We are all his beloved children. And it's also true that while blaspheming the Lord Shishupal, he was Krishna, he is this and he is awful, and Krishna, he is this. He was chanting Krishna so many times. He was chanting Krishna all the times. He was meditating on Krishna all the time. So we might think, I think this Bhakti Yoga process is a little difficult. Maybe I should become a demon It's much easier. We can just chastise what the Lord. But the point is, first of all, Shishupal and they're not normal demons. They're great, great demons, and they're also Jaya and Vijaya. And second of all, imagine that we were in the position actually that we could become demons. We are demons, many of us, more or less, trying to become rid of the demonic qualities. But would we chant all the time, Krishna, I hate you, Krishna this, Krishna that? Or would we actually think, oh, I would like this, and I approve, me, mine. We would actually chant our own glories, so we will not get the purification of chanting Krishna's names. We would actually just slide down quite fast. And it's also described for many millions of lifetimes if we chastise the Lord. Because we will never continue to chastise the Lord. These demons, they were chastising all the time, they were meditating on Krishna. And also the Ajaya and Vijaya, the doorkeepers of heaven, they were actually, what is it called? Cursed. They were cursed, first by Lakshmi Devi and then by the 4 Kumaras, to take birth 3 times as demons in this material world. So they are Jaya and Vijaya. So they are not normal demons. They are actually just coming in. They were becoming a little bit proud. So one time when the Lord was sleeping, they actually didn't let Lakshmi Devi get into his palace. And at the same time when the 4 Kumaras came there, they also didn't allow them to come in. So they were just a little bit puffed up. They were actually guarding the doors for Lord Narayan. So then to teach them a lesson and to purify them of this, they were taught a lesson for this. It's not so difficult for the situation that we are in. Not so difficult, it's not so different from the situation we are in. We are also here to become purified. So the Lord, he says, I'm equal to anyone. He's acting in the same, no one is different from him. So this is difficult to understand because he also says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritraya sadhanam vinasaya sadushkritam dharma samsarana diya sambhavami yuga yuga, that I'm here to annihilate the miscreant and deliver the devotees. So that seems like a duality. That seems like he's actually not seeing us in the same way. But ultimately it's all beneficial for us. He's all merciful. He loves all of us. We are his beloved children. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also says, Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nidadas. It means that the living entity is an eternal servant of Krishna, the Supreme God. Every living entity that are here on this world are an eternal servant of God and his beloved Son, also the demons. But right now, at this time, because out of envy, we have the desire to enjoy like Krishna. And Krishna, he is so loving, he says whatever we want. We can desire him, or we can desire the material world, we can get exactly what we want. So when we desire to enjoy separately from him, he facilitates it. But at the same time, he is so merciful that he also, because he understands our nature, he's our creator, he created everyone as his loving devotee. At the same time, he also understands how much we suffer. And he also understands that if we have to talk about pure love, real pure love of Godhead, it has to be voluntary. There cannot be, we cannot have love if we are forced. A man and a husband and a wife may be together, and the husband, if he twists the arm of the wife, say you love me, say you love me. And she might say I love you, and she might even act in a way that it's force, it has to come from the heart. There has to be reciprocation. We have to do something actively. So everyone has been blessed. we have to be very careful what kind of desires we are cultivating. It's so easy when we first arrived here. Most of us were going through some sufferings. We had some less fun times, so to say. But when we come here and we're in the association of the devotees, after a very short time things turn around and things start to go better. I think also that it's not when he was talking about it yesterday. And what happens is that when we feel better, immediately our rascal qualities starts to come out again. And that means, first of all, familiarity breeds content. We have to understand everyone here is a pure devotee of the Lord. Right now, maybe there's some obstacles on the pathway, but we are here and trying to overcome them. We should never blame someone for being dirty if he's already standing in the shower and trying to clean himself. So, and that is very often the point why the devotees, they may leave. First of all, this familiarity comes up, and because everything is going okay, and we start blaspheming the devotees, maybe even subtle, maybe only in our minds, but still, then the taste will go away a little bit and we'll start thinking, maybe there's still something for me out there. I mean, can it be only this? I mean, and it's funny how Krishna, he facilitates us. He gives us knowledge and he gives us remembrance and he gives us bliss. Yeah. But if you want to forgetfulness, he also facilitates us with this. So this is really his mercy. We have to cultivate the right desires. The right desires should always be, we have to desire Krishna's enjoyment and not our own. And that is our problem, that immediately when we stop suffering, we start to desire our own enjoyment. And it's then there will be something, if we can desire Krishna or we can desire Maya. We can desire some temporary, very nice but very short enjoyment, or and then we will also, of course, we will get old age and we will die and we have to take birth again in another body. Or we can simply just desire for Krishna's enjoyment and enter into his eternal world, where we never have to die, we never grow old. We will always be full of bliss, because we are doing exactly what we are created for, trying to enjoy the Supreme Lord. And it's said actually that this devotional service is even higher than Krishna. Why? Because it attracts Krishna. So we have to understand what it actually is we got here from Srila Prabhupada. That we can come here and do devotional service, it's not a small thing. It's inconceivable how we get something from Srila Prabhupada that is bigger than Krishna. He teaches us how to come face to face to Krishna and serve him with pure devotion. That is what he teaches. And also another thing is we can, when we associate with the pure devotees, when we associate with Srila Prabhupada's disciples and his grand disciples, with the devotees, we are already communicating directly with Krishna. We just don't understand it. We cannot see it. Krishna is instructing us, and it's exactly the same thing as if we have a mobile phone, a cell phone. Someone is borrowing us a cell phone. We're talking to someone, but through the cell phone. So now we are communicating whatever knowledge we attain from Srila Prabhupada through his books. He's transparent via medium, but all Krishna's instructions are there for us. So, and there are so many indications. He tells us what we do right, he tells us what we do wrong. One example is, for instance, if we are chanting, Krishna gives us the instruction from wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Prøv at forestille jer, hvor merciful that I'm speaking Danish also. How long time have you speaking Danish?
You just
Yes,
say
a few.
Okay. How merciful is that? You know, he's directly, so whenever we know Krishna is helping us to get closer to him, so whenever we're sitting in the morning and chanting and our mind wanders, we can withdraw our thoughts all the time, and we can always remember this verse. We can always remember that Krishna directly told us this. This is what we have to do to get closer to him. So this is absolutely wonderful. This whole chapter, I mean, I'm stunned every time I get a chance to read Bhagavatam, because this whole chapter is so amazing, because actually, right at this moment, what is it that is happening? Right here, right at this moment, what is happening?
in the Bhagavatam?
Yes. Yudhishthira, what is he doing? Yudhishthira Maharaj. No, something the most important instruction we can get right now.
Inquiring?
Submissively from his spiritual master. Just the wisdom. He don't understand what is going on. None of us understand what is going on here, because we have the desire to forget Krishna, so he facilitated us. So now we are here and he's trying to help us through the spiritual master. So many times we're instructed to approach the spiritual master, get closer to him, get closer to Krishna. It's also, I mean, we just have to do what the spiritual master says. It's so easy. We have to follow the process, and then a whole different world will open up to us. Completely. And we have to be, whatever happens, we have to understand the ultimate peace formula is also in the Bhagavad Gita. It's 5:29. Uktaram yaktabasam sarvaroga maheswaram suridam sarvabhuttanam yachaman santim vichiti. That a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. That means also the demons and also us. So that means whatever difficulties we get, whatever we experience here, it is for our benefit. It is because Krishna, he loves us so much, and it's exactly what we need to get rid of this filth and dirt we have in our heart, all this envy we have. We can say, I have no envy. Yes, no one here can tell me that they have no envy, because we are all, as my spiritual master, he always says, I mean, if you're telling me you don't have any envy, you're lying, because you're wearing the prison suit. We are wearing this with material bodies, means we are envious of Krishna. But because Krishna, he is so loving, he's trying to help us every second of the day to get rid of this. That's why, if we choose to enjoy a little bit of the material, well, okay, Krishna facilitates that. That's our desire. Karma is there, we suffer. Oh. And then when we get rid of that, we have a chance again. Until we come in connection, in contact with the real spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master, and start to follow his instructions. We get rid of all this filth. So we have to, whatever difficulties what we get through, whatever good things, bad things, we just have to thank Krishna for this, thank our spiritual master. We have to develop an attitude of gratitude every second of the day. And it might be very difficult due to our stubborn nature, but that's why this place is the perfect place to be. The devotees are so merciful, and you cannot hide. You cannot hide, because it's a question of time, and your bad qualities, they will be revealed. You might even lie to yourself. I'm quite nice devotee now, I'm pure, and everything might be going all right, but immediately when you have this mentality, Krishna puts you in a situation and you react towards some devotee. Okay, so maybe I'm not so pure anymore. So the devotees are so great and merciful, they forgive us. So what's very important, if we want to get to the ultimate result of the love of Godhead, pure love of Godhead, which is there already, but we have to uncover it, we have to work the process. The process is working, and if we work it, we will get the result. Same thing as if we are in the station in Mandaluysen, we get on the metro. We ask, I want to go to Østerport. We ask the guy, and he said, just go ahead to the station, and you look up. You can see there's a sign on the sign. You get up, you get on the train, and then you see the map, and you follow very attentively what they're saying. Every station, you see next station Østerport, and you get off. Just follow the instructions, and you will get to the final station, which is not Østerport, but it was this. So so this instructions of it's also in Bhagavad Gita. Everyone knows this verse 4:34. Yeah, if we have to inquire submissively, we have to be humble. Ooh, humble. Oof. We should trust in ourselves. How can you know? But yeah, if we're not humble, we will always think that we know better. We have to be very humble. And that's what Krishna is trying to teach us every second of the day. All the difficulties to teach us humility. That's why we should say thank you, Krishna. Because that is what will make us understand his true nature through the pure devotee and the devotees. Always, always Guru, Sadhu, Sastra. These three things, if we have those in our life, follow those, we're safe. We can keep our balance. There are 3 legs, like this tripod here. There's 3 legs. So if we remove one of them, for instance, Sastra, let's say we're very busy, I don't have any time to read, so we remove one. If we remove the sadhus, I believe in God, I believe in Krishna, I believe in Srila Prabhupada. You remove the sadhus, but the devotees, such rascals, I don't have any faith in them. I have to be very careful. These 3 things have to be there. And then it's easy peasy, more or less, according to our own stubbornness. Is there any questions or comments?
Yeah, I was just wondering that, like whatever happens to us is because of our karma, and like the same
Because of us,
karma,
karma.
and Krishna's mercy, who's like intervening with the devotee's life and just giving to us whatever we deserve so we can progress. But at the same time, in the life of Lord Chaitanya, you see at one time he was preaching and they were very proud at that time in Navadvip people. So Lord Chaitanya, he went down to South India because people were more receptive there. So I'm thinking like, we heard from also, who was saying here some Sankirtan stories that's the mode of goodness where you go in a alley where there are many trees, or there's a little more the mode of goodness there, like that. So in our life, like it said that also you become like the people you are together with. Yeah? So how much should we, how can we judge if we are just in the right place?
Well, that's why we have a spiritual master. He will put us in our right place. That's exactly a very good point. Because without the spiritual master, how can we judge if we're in the right place? Well, Krishna's mercy is available freely for everyone. This is like the rain falls all over. It's just, if it hits the ground and there's a seed, it will start sprouting. If it hits the stone, it will not. So it's available. His love is available for everyone. But we can only actually know our real position, what we should do to become like the soil and not like the stone, by following the instructions of the spiritual master. Because he knows the truth. Yeah. Very nice point. Have I something to add?
So, for example, like most of our spiritual masters say, they just want us to follow the structure of the authorities where we are staying. So one can say that if the authorities around us is not telling us to, like go somewhere else or something. I was asking this question because Gaura met this Muslim 6 times, and who was telling him be careful here, this is our place in Nørreport. And like this, like, how can you see, is it just an indication from Krishna, I should just become more Manidari's Prabhu? He says sometimes he becomes fired up when he meets some obstruction or...
Yeah, I cannot quote any place from Shastra about Nørreport, but I would say personally, don't go there. Because Copenhagen is big, there's many other places you can be. Why create a situation? Of course, if there was no other places all Copenhagen, then but there are so many other places where it's actually possible to cultivate people. Like you gave the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India, because there were more... So the situation might be that, first of all, we are not pure devotees, so we should try and make it a little easier on ourselves. There's no reason to go to a place where it's so heavy. Copenhagen is a big city. That's what I would say. But I cannot quote any such. Was that the answer you were looking for?
No, it was nice. Like Rimni Sudha Prabhu, he also said many years ago that in summertime, because the women are so less than half naked, he said that it out of the Copenhagen. Of course in Denmark it's more or less maybe the same, but I know Tapas Prabhu, he used to go up in north of Norway during summertime. I
know actually a good example exactly on this with Vaikunta Murthy Prabhu, who was here. He's a disciple of Indradyumna Maharaj. And during the war in Croatia, there was a war in Yugoslavia, ex-Yugoslavia, 10 years ago, maybe some ago. But the devotees took Indradyumna Maharaj out on a Hainam during the wartime. They were walking in the streets during the war, and they just passed a mosque. Just as the Friday prayer was finished and all the Muslims came up, and they were wearing Kalashnikovs, weapons, and they became very angry and they started beating the devotees, and there was a big fight and the devotees were fighting them and everyone was very excited. How nice, you're fighting the Muslims. But in the Yumna Maharaj, he was very, very angry. Should never put the devotees in such a position, bringing them, look what could have happened now. He was caught even sometimes by night. Should never put the devotees in such a situation. Someone could have been killed. That was from the Yumna Maharaj in that situation. So I would say, of course, it's not the same in Nørreport, but go somewhere else. You had some comments?
Yeah, but it was maybe a little complicated question.
Is it a question or a comment?
It's a question.
Okay.
I just heard the other day, and this is from Charitamrita Madhya, where Srila Prabhupada, he writes on a purport that by initiation of the spiritual master, the seed of bhakti is planted. And before initiation, the seed is not really planted. And Srila Prabhupada, he says, then it's the seed of karma, jnana, political and altruistic activities. So I was just wondering, like, initiation, we hear it like it's also just like beginning the process. So does this mean Diksha, or like start chanting Hare Krishna, or like...
That means Diksha. Initiation means Diksha. But there's also, of course, taste before. It's like if you're wearing glasses, so if you take the glasses off, you can see it's a little bit blurry, but you can still see, you can understand it, you can accept that Krishna is God, you can understand that the devotees are fantastic.
Even with glasses off.
Yeah. And Prabhupada, you can also understand how amazing his books is, but everything is blurry. So when you get initiated, it's like you see through the spiritual master, eyes of the spiritual master. So slowly you will start to understand more and more. But the initiation